Welcome to the Rode NT USB Mini. I had to read the name because it's not something that rolls off the tongue, but this is the simplest, easiest little microphone that I've probably ever used, and this is the exact kind of situation that I like to use it for. Voiceover. Because right now you're hearing the sound out of this microphone, and compared to the camera, it's a lot better sound quality. I mean, maybe you like the camera sound, but I like the microphone sound a lot better because it isolates my voice a lot better than the microphone does, even though I'm in a sound-treated room. Imagine how terrible this would sound if you were in your kitchen or somewhere else. And so if you're somebody who makes videos, who particularly wants a nice simple setup, then I'm going to show you what this microphone has been like to use for the last 2 or 3 years that I've had it, test it out in a few different ways, and give you just a sampling of what the sound quality is like. So the microphone doesn't actually come with this little tripod. This is something that I bought separately and screwed on there because I lost a piece of the base. It comes with a nice like little magnetic base, and so you can set it on the table and just have your Zoom call or make your meeting or whatever and talk to it in a natural voice, and it sounds good. But when you take it apart and you hang it on something like a microphone arm and then you lose the pieces, your life gets a lot more difficult, so I don't recommend doing that. But for me, this is the exact kind of instance that I've liked to use this, because even right now, I'm recording the voiceover into the actual video editing software that I use, Final Cut Pro. It has a record voiceover function, and all I have to do with this microphone is plug it in. No setup, no configuration, no opening an app or connecting anything on my phone or anything else. No. It's hardware to hardware. Plug it in and get going. That was my whole goal with using this microphone, was to reduce the number of steps. I don't have to fiddle with something else and plug it into a camera and then connect it later and sync up audio tracks and do all that jazz. These have a good place in your workflow if you want to use something like this, but for most of us, we want something that's simple, that just sounds good, it sounds right, and it makes our lives a little bit easier. Speaking of simple, I'll walk you through what this actually looks like to use as far as a hardware device. You can see on the back of it, there's only 2 plugs. So I've got the USB-C cable, which is both powering it and it's giving the signal over to my laptop. And then the only other plug in here is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And so if you had something like these in-ear monitors that are currently a little bit of a tangled mess, and you wanted to monitor yourself, you plug that into the back here, and then you can hear your own voice as you're talking. The reason you would do this is just to make sure that you're at a nice moderate level, there's no other ambient sounds that are interrupting what you're trying to do, and that you can be clear with everyone else. The only physical adjustment on the whole entire microphone is right here on the very front. There's a little dial, and that's the gain, it's the volume level for your own monitoring. If you have something plugged in, that's what this adjusts. It does not adjust the volume level of you talking. That's just up to you and your vocal cords. And this is a nice time to point out the directionality of the microphone. The speaker is on the front, and I'm over here talking on the back, so it should be rejecting a lot more sound in terms of my voice than it was before, where it was picking up my voice. There's not a whole lot of ambient sound happening right now. I've got the air conditioner running. I've got a small fan in front of me over here, so you might pick up a little bit of that. But as I continue to turn the microphone around this way, my voice is going to become a lot more prominent in the sound, and you can hear me really clearly. But one thing to point out with this microphone, or really any microphone, is it's not a miracle worker. If you're nice and close to the microphone like this, I could be using my webcam here, I could be using my other camera setup over there, I could be talking to you in a normal volume, and you can hear me pretty clearly. But if I start to back up, and I get further and further away, there's nothing the microphone can really do to make me sound good. Especially if I'm way back here, the microphone just can't handle the level of ambient noise around. And really no microphone is meant to do that. They're meant to pick up the sound that's right in front of them. And in my experience, this microphone has done a good job doing that. Now, if you wanted to, you could hold it really, really close. You could have the proximity effect, like I'm eating some fried chicken in front of you for a weird mukbang video, or maybe like I'm a podcaster. You want to hear this whisper tight, really close kind of proximity. You can do that with this. You're just at more risk of plosives. Plosives are those sounds whenever you make P's and B's and it kind of blows air out and it cannot sound the best for you. Because in the middle of a meeting, and if you're talking about peanut butter pirates, you don't want to be blowing into the microphone a whole bunch. So I like to hold the microphone kind of 5 or 6 inches away from my mouth, so that hopefully I don't have too much plosive issue, but it's close enough that the microphone can do a good job and still pick up my voice. Now there is a little bit of like a grate built in here, so it's going to help us out a little bit in terms of rejecting those plosives. If you wanted to, you could also get like another screen so that it helps you to not have too many plosives. And if you're on meetings all the time, or if you really like the proximity effect, then I would say go ahead and get one of those. But in general, I find that it does a good enough job on its own. And this is a relatively inexpensive microphone. It's not going to sound the absolute best out there. But compared to something like the native camera microphone, it's going to sound a lot better. For one thing, the actual microphone itself is a lot higher quality than something like the camera microphone, because this thing is meant to be cheap and just kind of get by. Plus, the ability to put the camera further away and then sit over here and still have really good sound quality is a really nice thing to do. You could step up to something a lot crazier, like a Shure SM7B, and get all the other hardware to run that thing and deal with external external recorders and do all that jazz, but that's a pain. This is much cheaper, it's much simpler, and it's much more pain-free as an experience than something like that. So just as a little demo, this is the kind of thing that I'll use for my Zoom meetings whenever I've got a business meeting with somebody. In theory, I wanted to hook it up with the big fancy camera over there and kind of show off my video production prowess, but in the end, those things give me fits. Like, they have technical issues that I can't necessarily sort out 5 minutes before the meeting starts. And so I end up just having a meeting like this. I put this down at the table in front of me, I talk to somebody at a normal volume, and I've been happy with it so far. But what do you think about the sound quality? Do you think that this little microphone is worth the price tag? I've seen a couple of different deals lately. A, it's typically on sales on any of the major holidays, on Amazon Prime Day, things like that. The price will drop a little bit there. B, I've also seen some resellers that price both the microphone and a set of headphones together for like the same price. And so that could be really tempting if you want a set of headphones to be able to monitor yourself at the same time. I don't find that I'm too concerned about it. Most of the time, whatever I'm using to actually record into, whether that's like Zoom or in this case, Final Cut Pro, there's at least some kind of little volume bar dancing around there so I have an idea if I'm peaking, if I'm talking too loudly or too quietly. So I'm not too worried about that, but it is something that's at least nice to check maybe at the beginning of your recording. You can adjust it, then you can move on. Back in the day, whenever I bought this, it had first come out, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I paid the full $100 to get the thing, and I thought I would use it all the time. I used it a bit, and then I just realized that I had more diverse needs. So if I'm out and about and I'm trying to like make a video outside or record a car or something like that, I'll use something like a wireless microphone setup that I have to hook up to the camera. If I want to go through all the rigmarole and the trouble of ultimate sound quality, then yeah, I'll use the SM7B, I'll hook the thing up, I'll go through all the extra work, and I'll put up with the pain that this thing is. But this little Rode NT USB microphone remains in my workflow because it's just easy to use. I wouldn't have even made this video today if this wasn't so easy to use, but because it is, I felt like it was worth making and I wanted to give you a little demo of it. If this was a useful demo for you, then I'd really appreciate it if you used my link in the description, because as an Amazon affiliate, then I get like a little kickback from them. So I'll make, I don't know, 1, 3, 5% of whatever that purchase price is. It'll be a kickback to me. And the great thing is it doesn't cost you anything extra. So it helps me out a lot. I've got an entire studio full of gear here. So if you want to see me review anything else, then let me know. Whether that's a camera, a microphone, a teleprompter, whatever other kind of gear I have in here, I'm happy to review that for you. I primarily use Fujifilm cameras and Insta360 action cameras. Otherwise, I'm pretty brand ambivalent and I'll use whatever I think suits my needs. So let me know if there's anything on your list of curiosities. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.